ships that did conquer the oceans were built on the lessons learned from the ones that sank.
And that's really the heart of it all, that humiliating failure. Today, we're diving into the story of an invention that was supposed to change the world. But first, it had to fail, and I mean fail in a really, really big way. So, let's start with a thought. What if the most incredible breakthroughs we know didn't start with a flash of genius, but with a complete, embarrassing, undeniable failure? All right, so let's set the scene. We're back in the age of exploration. People are trying to push the boundaries of the known world. And to do that, well, they needed better ships. Ships that could sail farther and carry more than anything that had come before. And at the very heart of all this ambition was a groundbreaking new design, the carrack. Seriously, on paper, this thing was seen as the perfect invention. It was the ship that was going to conquer the oceans, open up global trade. Everybody thought this was it. This was the future. But, as these ships went from the drawing board to the actual ocean, that beautiful dream collided with a very harsh, very dangerous reality. Because once these supposedly perfect ships got out there, away from the safety of the coastline, a terrifying truth started to come out. This amazing invention was hiding a secret, and it was a secret so dangerous it put the life of every single sailor on board at risk. And we're not talking about just one little problem. No, it was a whole cascade of critical design flaws. For starters, their balance was terrible, which made them just dangerously unstable. The hulls? Too weak. They sprang leaks you'd never expect. And to top it all off, the wood wasn't treated right, so the ships would literally start to rot in the middle of a long voyage. Just try to imagine what that was like for the crew. I mean, listen to this. Sailors were reporting that their ships would, quote, tilt unpredictably or even risk capsizing under strong winds. This wasn't some minor issue. This was basically a death sentence waiting to happen out in the middle of the ocean. So you can imagine the shock, right? The failure was just massive. The best shipbuilders and scientists of their time had created a total public humiliation. Their grand dream of conquering the seas was, quite literally, sinking. But this is where the story takes a turn. This is where it goes from being about failure to being about a foundation. Instead of just giving up, they went right back to the drawing board, totally determined to turn this epic embarrassment into an opportunity. And they were so methodical about it. They engineered a complete comeback. They totally redesigned the hull's shape to fix the balance. They brought in much stronger frameworks inside the ship, came up with better waterproofing to stop the leaks, and finally they figured out how to properly treat the wood so it wouldn't rot. And you gotta understand, this was so much more than just patching a few holes. This was a completely different way of thinking. It took real guts to admit how badly they'd messed up, and then to learn from every single mistake, and to basically rebuild their idea from scratch. And all that knowledge, all that know-how that was earned through such a tough failure, well, that is what led to greatness. You could say this was the moment the modern ship was truly born.
And the transformation was just incredible. I mean, look at this. It all started with a big promise, right? A revolutionary idea that turned out to be super fragile. But through failure, it was forged into something powerful and, most importantly, reliable. The very ships that did conquer the oceans were built on the lessons learned from the ones that sank.
And that's really the heart of it all. That humiliating failure wasn't the end of the story, not even close. It was the turning point. It's what forced engineers to figure out the basic principles of shipbuilding that in many ways are still used today. This whole story is just amazing proof that the road to greatness is often paved with failure. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about having the grit and the determination to learn from them. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What modern marvels that we see all around us today were also born from some kind of early spectacular mistake? When you look at the technology we rely on, which of them have a similar story of failure hidden somewhere in their past? It's pretty interesting to think about. Thanks for joining me.